So here's the lowdown for Knives of Alaska. At this point in the TNP Knife Show, I have about 2 more blades that I definitely will review. I love them both. They are highly recommended, probably HOF blades. However, I don't know if I'll review a lot more. I don't know if TNPers really did KOA, judging from the view numbers on the video, which is basically a percentage of the subscribers. That's actually more accurately the way to portray a video. A percentage of the subscribers watch it. That shows an interest level. It's always been pretty low on KOA. Maybe it's because it's a hunting knife. Guys don't like hunting knives. I've said that before. But people need to expand, because a lot of the knives I'm bringing to the table, like this one, this is one of those blades I'm talking about. The Yukon belt knife by Knives of Alaska is much more than a hunting knife. It's much more than a lot of things. It's true Hall of Famer. I will always love KOA blades. I think they are so well made, represent such high value levels for a US made product. The steel is phenomenal. I can't help but pretty much rave about certain models. You may be surprised I'm putting this one on the table because it is so unusual to a lot of knife guys. They're like, what? What the heck is that? I mean, you young whippersnappers out there look at that knife and go, oh, heck no. Well, let me tell you something. This knife has been around for a very long time. A long time. Now, I remember this style of knife, which personally I call a Canadian belt knife. I remember it from the Herder's version in the 1970s. My dad had one. I carried it on many a hunting expedition. Herder's Canadian belt knife. And I just fell in love with it then. And my dad told me at the time, he's like, this knife looks kind of weird, but you have to use it to appreciate it. And I will bring the same thing to the table right now. You have to use, in this case, a KOA, Knives of Alaska, Yukon belt knife is what they're calling theirs, in order to appreciate its ergonomics and its capabilities. Once you do so, then perhaps your mind will be opened. Your mind will be blown. Is it really that good, Nutton? In terms of ergonomics, I would say yes, it is that good. The reason why this knife is still being produced today is because it works. I mean, if you go back in the history, some other names that have produced this knife, or origins, I won't go into, but the Groman, D.H. Russell. There's another competitive option by a company called R. Murphy. They call it the R. Murphy Skinner.
I love that.
All these, the reason the design's still going is because it works, and there is a small fan club of the blade. I would say, and we'll jump right into philosophy of use, most of these guys are outdoorsmen. Okay, they can appreciate a well-made, just easy to use, no nonsense, first off, trapper knife. And I think that's where the design originated. For guys running trap lines that'll use it for various things, cutting lines, skinning beavers, gutting stuff, prepping food. Trapper knife. That's what it's designed for. And I think KOA brings it back as a hunting knife. So primarily intended for skinning. I haven't skinned anything with this. Not with this knife. The old knife I did. I helped my dad dress a bear out with it. That old Herder's Canadian belt knife. I wasn't a knife guy back then. I think what I had on my belt at the time was an Explorer folding knife. It was basically a copy of a Buck 110, and I loved that. It was in 440A, I think. Cheesy steel. I didn't know, but it seemed like it worked then. And no, I'm not going to go out and skin an animal with this and bring it to tabletop. Not worth the work, especially when guys don't care about hunting knives here. But as far as that goes, good sweep, not too big, pretty much a good size for skinning. Great controllability, and we'll jump right into the handle and ergonomics here. We'll cover it right now. First off, look at this run of jimping on the KOA version. That, my friends, is perfection. Okay, so is the handle. The handle is typical Canadian belt knife. No big deal. The curvature fits anatomically your hand like we've seen a lot of other blades. Got a nice choil here for a 2-finger hold. All that's to the good. What I really like about the KOA version is the sure grip handle, and that's just what they call it. Not too sticky. It's kind of a polymer, not a rubber, not a kraton, but polymer. And in this version, orange, I really love it. High visibility. It's a good woods knife. You drop it in the snow, in the woods, you can find it easily, and it just looks cool. I don't mind orange blades at all. I've always said that. I love orange blades. Not blades, but handle materials. So ergonomically, going back to that skinning discussion, dude, you're locked in. You can control the caping, you can control the cut. Great sweep on the blade. And then check this out. That's actually sharpened. That upper swedge, and I don't think I sharpened that. Maybe I did. I've had this knife for so long, I honestly forget. I thought it came sharpened out of the box. Maybe I did that. So, you know, I don't know. Check out yours if you get it, and then, I don't know, you can put it in the comments. I may have done that, because anytime I can do it, I will. And that will take us to defensive knife use. As I always say. Why? Well, because if that's sharpened, it's going to pierce cut better. That's why. You know, the downside is, as a camp knife, if you have that sharpened, and you can see we've put some use on it, and I'll try to find the footage and roll it in. Batoning it works fine. But anytime you have a sharpened swedge, you're just dulling it. Maybe not the best application for that. As a splitter, wood splitter, and I'm talking light duty wood splitting, kindling preparation, it worked fine. You can see it's mostly, you know, not flat ground at all. It's a flat, and then you can start where you see where the relief goes, and that's a hollow ground portion here to the relief edge. Philosophy of use: camp knife, absolutely. Food preparation, it slices pretty good. There's the thickness right there. I could probably think of better camp knives overall, but every knife is a compromise. You just have to decide where you're putting the emphasis. EDC, yeah, you could do that. Absolutely, and we'll go into weight and balance. Overall, 6.5 ounces. This, and I'm talking with the leather sheath, this alone, 3.6 ounces. That's light. That's also where some of my enthusiasm stands for this knife. Competitive option, I'll cover this now too. I mentioned, and I'll show you a screenshot, I think I got it from Amazon. The R. Murphy Skinners out there, I think it's pretty affordable at like $35-ish, $32. It's a carbon steel knife, wood handled. I would definitely choose a KOA Yukon over it any day of the week. Any day. One is, anytime the manufacturer's not bragging about the steel at that price point or higher, I'm kind of like going, what is it, you know? Well, it's carbon steel. Okay. It's kind of like you see a knife and they go, well, it's stainless steel. Well, what kind of stainless steel? It's stainless steel. Surgical stainless steel. Okay, so it's probably AUS6 or 440A. Soft steel. Otherwise, you're going to brag about it. And that takes us to the steel discussion, which I've had before on Knives of Alaska. Their D2, dudes, is excellent. I haven't even sharpened this one. We've split with it, and let's just do a little paper cut and see how it does. Not set up, totally genuine. This is glossy photo stock paper, in case you're wondering. Oh, daddy like. Little hang up right there. Where is that? It's not slicing so great there. But, you know, I went through a fair amount of wood with it. It's good enough where I don't feel the need to sharpen it. Not yet. I'm like, doing this right now, I was like, that's sharp enough. I mean, it's doing good. And that's factory edge. Actually, I shouldn't say every, but if memory serves, almost Knives of Alaska out of the box had a really wicked edge on it. If memory serves. I could be wrong. Another one I've shown, well, it's way back there. This is a camp knife. I won't bring that out. So, D2, great blade against flesh. As a primarily intended for skinning knife, that's a good choice. We see that with Silver Stag. We see it with Knives of Alaska. This also, like I said, has a long skinning radius, better, and it's going to be, I think, Rockwell 59 to 61. KOA, and I really like when a manufacturer says this, says they're edging it to 18 to 20 degrees. It does look a little steeper to me than that, but whatevs. Talked about the sheath, talked about the handle, quality, durability. Amazing. US produced knife, by the way. Value. It's going to be around $100, maybe a little bit less. Totally worth it. Totally worth it. I love this knife. Competitive options I've covered already. One of them is the R. Murphy. You might see some older herder knives out there. All of them are going to be pretty affordable. there's not a lot of demand for this knife shape because people just don't know about it. That's one reason I want to bring it to the knife show, is to tell people how awesome this very venerable design and functional design is. You, like my dad said, have to use it to appreciate it. There is one competitive option that I definitely want to show you if I have it. I hope I do. And it's coming from Cold Steel. Whip sound. No whip sound. Here it comes. You guys hate it when I don't do that. This is a Canadian belt knife by Cold Steel. It's in 4116 Krupp. It's just as light, 3.4 ounces. It has a really cheesy, overseas produced nylon pouch sheath with a, this. It's okay. It's okay. What I really like about it is it's so freaking cheap. It is a stamped 4116 knife. The edge on it, though, is really sharp. It has all the same ergonomics as this knife, right? What it lacks is U.S. production, ultimate quality. In other words, it doesn't have the D2. This one does. The handle is going to be a little bit off. I like this handle much better, the Sure Grip handle. And it doesn't have second kind of cool. This one does. I kind of glossed over the sheath. I'm sorry. I thought I talked about it, but it's high quality. And the reason they put together leather sheaths at KOA, says me, is made in USA, by the way, is because this is what hunters like. This is what they connect with. A leather sheath will show wear over time. Guys will like it. They'll connect to it. They'll go, man, this is cool. I love this leather sheath. They'll hand it down to their children. And to be honest, that Herder's Canadian belt knife, the leather sheath that had, which sucked, it was like it had like a leather thong that would dangle and whip all around. You're hiking, it's banging into you. I always hated that. But it showed a lot of wear, and then when my dad had it, by the time I got it, it showed character. You're going to probably lack some of this with that. So first cool, this has both first and second cool. And that's it, dudes. I'm going to wrap it up right here. Highly recommended. I think I have one more KOA knife to go, and then I'm just going to press on with the show with other awesome blades. That's my review of the Yukon.